Is he outside, Beatrice?
If you mean the gentleman jumping hysterically on a small child, dressed in a deerstalker and trench coat, then yes, miss.
Oh. Oh dear. Show him in, Beatrice.
Yes, miss. Mr. Arthur Conan Doyle, miss.
Good morning, Arthur. Beatrice, would you sweep the crumpled remains of the deerstalker child away from the outside lobby, please?
Very good, miss.
So, Arthur, how's the writing been going?
It's been brilliant. I couldn't wait to see you to discuss all my ideas for my new book, Miss Whifflewaff.
Well, we at Whifflewaff Waffle and Fluffle You Senseless like to encourage our writers to write what they love. So, this book, Arthur.
Yeah, it was all about a dream I had. I mean, what if we were flies in a castle of ice cream? Or if we had a totalitarian government made up of sherbet lemons? That is the premise of my new book.
I don't think that is a premise, Arthur.
Well, I have another idea for a book following the adventures of a musketeer.
Arthur, I think you'll find that's already been written and is called The Three Musketeers.
Another idea I had was for a book called The Hungry Caterpillar.
What is it about?
A hungry caterpillar.
But, Arthur, I don't understand. It's a caterpillar. To rectify its hunger, it just needs to eat a leaf or something. That's not the most page-turning thing I've ever heard.
Oh, well, the hungry caterpillar is a metaphor.
For what?
For him being a hungry caterpillar.
That's not a metaphor, Arthur.
Well, I've got another literary idea all about fairies.
No!
But
I don't want to talk about the fairies again, Arthur.
All right. What if the fairies were a metaphor?
For what?
For, fairies being real?
You obviously don't know what a metaphor is, Arthur, and no. So, any other ideas?
No.
I mean, you could always...
No.
Arthur, be reasonable. I mean, your ideas for other books are good, but it's just not Sherlock Holmes, Arthur.
You don't understand. If I'm remembered solely for Holmes, then I have failed as a writer.
Not at all, Arthur. Worse failures have happened in the world of writing, including a certain Kit Marlowe ending up with a knife in his eye.
Yes, but...
But nothing. Remember, we are not called Whifflewaff Waffle and Fluffle You Senseless for nothing.
I had learnt to keep those flashbacks at bay.
I mean, the public went into mourning when you killed Holmes. People think he's real. How is that a failure, Arthur?
Is this where the inspirational music starts playing?
I'm afraid Beatrice is repairing the gramophone at the moment. Sigmund Freud, another client of mine, appears to have knackered the thing by playing it constantly whilst doing a strip-tease to prove a psychological point.
His psychological point being...
I don't even know.
But how can I bring back Holmes when I had him fall off a cliff, down a waterfall, and into a rocky pit of suicidal and unavoidable death?
I don't know. Just make it happen. Sherlock Holmes hasn't inspired this much public attention since Freud published his book, Sometimes a Cigar is Just a Cigar. Oh, wait a moment. It's actually something that we can't possibly mention on the radio.
Why the public attention for Freud's book?
Again, I don't recall. I was distracted somewhat.
But I can't think of how to bring back Holmes.
Whichever way you want, Arthur.
Oh, can it be?
No, but nothing to do with fairies, Arthur, no.
Fresh from the pages of the Piper's Limes and other charmingly pacifist publication comes the legendary hero, Sherlock Holmes, brought to you by the Association of Angry Quakers.
Hello, passing Quaker. Can I take your pamphlet on Quakerism? Oh, I say. I don't believe in violence.
This is Sherlock Holmes and the Adventure of the Chalky Outline. The Place. London, 1887, the cesspool of crime, the capital of the empire, the location of a surprising number of foggy, poorly lit back alleys. A certain Dr. Watson is winding up his watch and leaning against a gas lamppost, watching, waiting. Suddenly, a figure from the gloom appears, as only figures in gloomy Victorian dismal London can appear.
Do you know the way to Russell Square?
Russell Square? Near the British Museum, isn't it?
Well, I'm lost. So that piece of information doesn't really help me, does it? Good Lord. Is it James? Or John? Iraq or Afghanistan? I never really knew.
It's John, and it was Afghanistan.
Wait one moment whilst I take off this blue scarf and put on this marginally darker blue scarf.
Oh, a most fiendish disguise.
Yes, 'tis I, Sherlock Holmes, brought back from the dead by a jaded author and an outlandish plot contrivance. Oh, Watson, it's been far too long. You've been eating trifle.
How could you possibly tell?
Apart from the fact that you're holding a half-eaten bowl of trifle, well, you know, I pick up on the subliminal things.
That's why Lestrade tasked me with searching for you after your mysterious disappearance over the Reichenbach Falls. There's a case, Holmes, that desperately needs solving.
But Watson, I've lost all my powers to deduce. Surely Arthur Conan Doyle told you about that plot twist involving me walking clumsily into a lamppost?
You're asking me? Watson? I'm always the last one to know. I'm just here to show how having a moustache and a gun makes you a vaguely passable Victorian gentleman who has an all-consuming crush on his best friend.
I haven't done any deduction since the Hound of the D'Urbervilles. Or was it the Tess of the Baskervilles? It was a pretty solid lamppost I walked into, I can tell you.
Well, this might help your skills to return. As part of therapy, including blood, murder, and caricatured villains, there's been a murder, Holmes. And murder is always the best type of therapy for a gentleman detective.
Fine. But if we get any letters about that joke's possible insensitive nature towards people who actually have therapy, well, then I'm blaming you. Is this the woman we must talk to? It's 9:30 in the evening. Women should be at home being wound up for the next day like pocket watches, surely.
Your Victorian ideals always surface when you don't need them, Holmes.
Oh, sorry, Watson.
Holmes, this is the Honourable Lady Gaga. How do you do? May we ask who the victim was?
It was a vague acquaintance of mine. His name was Thing.
Thing? Thing along?
Why, yes, Thing along.
You see, Watson, I'm up to speed. Without the speed.
This programme does not condone the use of drugs, not voting for the Conservative Party, or anything even vaguely pleasurable.
Where did the murder take place?
I believe right where you're standing, gentlemen.
I wonder how this randomly placed woman knows so much about the murder. Never mind.
There's some blood around there.
Shh! There is blood here. I believe someone was murdered here. It appears that someone has been killed exactly within these chalk outlines of a body on the ground. We're dealing with a mastermind here.
By some twist in the plot, I can talk to the dead if it will help.
Ah, yes, for the sake of the lunatic plot, you must tap into the spirit world.
I shall try. Thing! Thing!
Is she downing that bottle of Bombay Sapphire?
Well, we did ask her to tap into the spirit world.
Your local radio station accepts no responsibility for that terrible joke or indeed anything that may bring a shred of chuckle-worthy whimsy to your modern existence.
I don't really believe in all this hokum, if I'm honest, Holmes.
Tell me, what is your name, sir?
My name? Why, it is Dr. John Watson.
I knew that.
Oh, my God. That is incredible.
But Watson, you told her your name.
But she already knew.
I see a man with crazy eyes and brandishing an axe named Brenda.
Brenda? Seriously?
You never insult Brenda, Watson. Especially when it's the name of a sharp, shiny axe.
So, we now need to find a man with crazy eyes who owns an axe. In London. This won't take any time at all.
Will that be enough, gentlemen?
Watson, did that man sitting inside that building, closed windows and all, speak to us?
I must speak to you both. Please step inside the walls of this pub.
The whimsy is getting ridiculous. Is this how you imagined your life would turn out, Watson?
Well, yes. But then again, I'm a dangerously repressed Victorian man.
I believe I'm right in saying that you were just getting up to speed on the murder investigation that you were being assigned to. So I thought I'd fast forward past all the details of the case and just assume I know exactly everything.
What is your name, sir?
My name is Captain William Lutteridge Kingsley, gentleman's spy, swashbuckler, and woman's sexual idol as far as the boundaries of Victorian society will allow.
But what business do you have in this case? The position of sidekick with a moustache has already been filled.
Give me one good reason why I shouldn't shoot you where you stand for that particular brand of un-British rudeness.
Because I don't have a flipping clue who you are.
Ah, yes. Let me introduce you to Squadron Leader Persephone Boothroyd, expert engineer and inventor, death-defying swordsman, and one of the few people who reads about gender politics and actually enjoys it.
You can call me Percy. I take it you are the legendary crime-solving couple Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson?
Oh, no! We're not together. We're definitely not a couple.
It's rather devastating how insulted you just were. Am I not good enough to be your companion in crime? Sunday morning coffee and breakfast crumpets, Holmes?
We're not having this conversation again, Watson. So, I assume that you have worked on this particular case after Lestrade gave up on any hope Conan Doyle would resurrect me.
We know little of the case in hand, actually, except that it involves a man with crazy eyes and an axe called Brenda.
You've read the script!
Well, yes. But we have been hunting the man on behalf of the Belgian government, as Belgium has neither Hercule Poirot nor the boy reporter Tintin to hunt this murderer down at this present time. Partly because they haven't been invented yet. This mastermind first struck in Brussels before mincing his murderous way to London, where he took out Thingalong, a human resources manager in the criminal underworld, who had recently been seen sneaking around the chocolate labs of the Ardennes.
Most intriguing. So, Captain Kingsley and Squadron Leader Boothroyd, shall we join forces to solve this devilish mystery?
Mr. Holmes, for the honour of the United Kingdom and the Kingdom of Belgium, we accept. And in agreeing, it will help my record of general awesomeness and allow me to meet girls.
Whenever I work with you, Kingsley, why do I sometimes feel I'm an extra in Feminism Moonwalk's Bacchus Entry, the musical?
The best course of action will be to return to the scene of the original murders which were committed in Belgium. And it also allows me to say the word Belgium repeatedly, which is a funny word.
But Belgium isn't a funny word.
It really is, though.
It sounds like an adventure. But what about my life here? What about my medical practice, my newspaper subscriptions, my wife?
Watson, I hate to disillusion you, but this is an adaptation of the Sherlock Holmes canon where you don't have a wife. It helps with the will they, won't they tension between us, apparently.
What? How dare you, Holmes? Why, there is my wife now.
Watson?
Darling wife, do you like my new waistcoat?
That is a post box, Watson.
I can dream, Holmes.
Gentlemen, we don't have a moment to lose. Let us depart with all speed to Belgium.
Seriously, man.
So, here we are. Who would have thought a small snatch of fast-paced violin music would transport us to Brussels, hence shortening any tedious travelling content?
Indeed, Mr. Holmes. I have here compiled the key facts facts of the murders sent over by Scotland Yard for us to peruse.
That is most helpful, Kingsley. At once I'm up to speed, without the speed, and it allows for the sidekicks to mingle outside. After all, obligatory minion mingling is inherent in every detective fiction.
Fine, as long as you promise not to waste time on that ridiculous contraption.
Sims Free is not a ridiculous contraption, Watson.
You made me maroon, and clad only in suspenders.
Out now! Percy! A moment, please.
Oh, flippity gibbet! He doesn't take me as a sidekick, does he?
So, Kingsley, do you like girls?
Yes.
What an extraordinary coincidence. So do I.
Did you just wink at me, Dr. Watson? Because I really do like girls.
Oh, yes. So do I.
You just suggestively winked again. Shall I talk to you about my mysterious past now or later?
Please now.
For many years, I've been a government agent, a general swashbuckler for the Belgian government. People normally laugh, not at my job, just at the word Belgium. However, my past is a swampy, foggy mass of mystery. By the time I was 20, alcohol had never passed my lips, but I had somehow become a predatory alcoholic. Needless to say, I've seen many bizarre and stomach-knotting things in my time. Dream-like events that remind you of a lemon orchard where you lost your mind with a farmhand called Jeremy who died of a teabag poisoning before you were born. Despite being the only swashbuckler that the Belgian government will probably ever have, I have struck fear and respect into the hearts of many. But every swashbuckler has a nemesis, an abiding nemesis, my only nemesis, who makes me happy when skies are grey.
Is this the man whom you have a picture of in your wallet?
Yes. Whenever I know his dastardly deeds are afoot, I sound the alarms.
To try to stop his dastardly deeds?
No, just so he knows I know he's there.
Right.
Is that enough obligatory mingling time, Dr. Watson?
I would say so.
Yes.
So, Percy, I'm sure you've heard of me and my reputation across the paperwaves of Watson stories.
Of course, Mr. Holmes. The cliffhangers, the incredible deduction, the ridiculous amount of cravats.
Yes, mine is a torrid tale of murder and tweed-clad escapades. I left school at 12, and I was home by 1. Over the years, I've travelled far and wide across the globe, picking up many things.
Well, I hope you're feeling better now.
I have no regrets.
As a Victorian gentleman, you probably should.
So I see that you're rather attached to Kingsley, Percy. I must say, he's rather lucky to be the sidekick of someone who knows how to navigate the ticket turnstiles at St. Pancras.
I'd follow him to hell and back, but I do wish he'd stop going there. To be honest, Mr. Holmes, I believe I'm currently fulfilling the role of plucky sidekick at the moment, especially as I'm the one who's currently doing all the legwork, designing and building all the gadgets that he invariably destroys on mission, saying pithy one-liners under my breath, constantly hoping one day I'll get a proper character arc.
You never know what'll happen in a story with an axe called Brenda, Percy.
Quite. But I suppose someone has to look after Kingsley on these missions. Upper-class Victorian men are surprisingly ill-equipped for the outside world.
Oh, really? Well, we best get over to the site of the first murder to see if there are any clues still there. I'll just change, and then we'll be ready for the off.
I'll ready the cab to take us there.
Holmes!
Watson! I wasn't expecting you.
Holmes, we must go. Percy, you're... Holmes, what's wrong?
Nothing, Watson.
Is that a moustache, Holmes?
Yes.
A moustache you grew in the half an hour I was gone?
Watson, it is a scientific fact that if men concentrate hard enough, they can grow a tash in 25 minutes flat.
Well, both of us can't have moustaches. I shall have to give you stern eyes of doom until you shave off said offending moustache.
But Watson, the tash goes with my pipe and my hat.
It does, but no.
And it goes with my other hat. And this hat. It even goes with your hat.
No! If you keep the moustache, then the will they, won't they, oh gosh, they've just brushed hands, oh my gosh, their hotel room only has one bed, tension between us is off.
You're cruel, Watson.
So this, Mr. Holmes, is the scene of the first murder.
Kingsley, why hasn't the body been removed?
Well, we're starting to follow your methods and not touching anything at the crime scene. I would have thought that you would have been happy.
I am happy, but don't you think it's a bit of a hazard? I mean, it's been 3 months since the murder, after all.
Oh, my ankle.
I suppose you have a point.
The victim was a well-beloved member of the Belgian chocolate empire, a certain Monsieur Godiva.
But what, pray tell, became of his horse?
And his flowing hair and the flesh-coloured tights.
He was an elderly Belgian gentleman, chaps. Flesh-coloured tights don't come in that size.
As I was saying, he seems to have been run over by an errant gelato cart. He had been working on a new secret recipe in the Ardennes chocolate labs to take on the looming chocolate threat from Britain and the United States of America.
The USA is a viable contender for the chocolate market. Have you gone mad, Boothroyd? I mean, have you seen their attempted cheese?
What are the Belgian police doing on the matter?
Sitting over there in that cafe, conforming to French stereotypes, then acting affronted when accused of conforming to said French stereotypes. They are Belgians, after all.
Excuse me, Holmes. I can handle this. Ah, bonjour.
Pardonnez-moi, monsieur.
Watson, you cannot speak Belgian now. You're the only one to have a moustache. Is Belgian even a language, Kingsley?
Your guess is as good as mine, Holmes.
Watson, we're already subliminally insulting Belgium. We cannot have you actually being openly xenophobic to the Belgians.
Sorry.
Flouf, hon, crazy eyes, alors de Brenda, raison noire, the murderer.
Aha! The man with the crazy eyes was here, with his mysterious axe called Brenda.
Again? Why Brenda? How is that a name for an axe?
You never insult Brenda, Monsieur Kingsley.
Thank you, nameless Belgian policeman, who will probably never surface again in this story.
That would be lazy plotting, Mr. Holmes.
Indeed. Anyway, see, Watson, the same chalky outline around the body.
Why, yes.
A murderer's calling card.
Yes. It is the same method as he used back in London.
No, I literally mean a calling card next to the body, Watson. It has a name on it and everything.
Oh, is it a clue, Holmes?
I'm not sure. It would be incredibly anticlimactic if the owner of this calling card of contact details happened to be the murderer.
Especially as the deceased seems to have scrawled in his own blood. He did it, yes. The guy whose card this is, he definitely killed me across said calling card.
Indeed. Who is the owner of this card?
A certain Mr. Munge.
Good God! The infamous cat burglar, pirate, tax avoider, and lurker of many a mysterious foggy alley. The dreaded Mr. Munge.
Yes, Watson. The very man.
Mr. Munge, who likes to lunge.
Yes, as a matter of... My dear Kingsley, you grow pale. Whatever is the matter?
This, Mr. Munge, that man is my...
Nemesis. Your only nemesis.
Who makes him happy when skies are grey.
Nice mysterious touch, Holmes.
Oh, thank you.
But he was here, and he didn't tell me. What a twerp.
Kingsley, maybe his grandmother fell ill, and he forgot to tell you he was here.
He also avoided me the last time he was at a gruesome murder. He never has time for me.
I'm sure that's not true, Kingsley. Have you thought of inviting him around for sword fighting on the roof and tiffin?
I did. I even invited him around for cucumber sandwiches and dramatic dangling off the turrets at Buckingham Palace when Mama was away.
Buckingham Palace? Mama?
Kingsley.
Yes. Oh, she's away at the moment on her Back in Black tour.
Kingsley.
My God! That restaurant across the road has happy hour!
But that means...
Watson, stop dropping your change.
Your mother is the Queen.
Oh yes, and that.
I see my cover has been blown by my slight slip of the tongue.
And the fact your handkerchief has the monogram of the Prince of Wales on it and says property of Prince Bertie. Call Buck House for cucumber sandwiches and a nice time. Honestly, sir.
I'm a disgrace. Not even my nemesis wants to see me and threaten me by ornamental canal. And it was built by Capability Brown, no less.
Don't lock yourself in your room, Kingsley. He's not worth it, Kingsley. No man is worth it.
How much lunacy can one play hold?
Thank you, chaps. Life feels so much better once you've had a pint of Potts cat hair ice cream.
Think nothing of it, old man. You didn't actually give him the good stuff.
You mean the dust with bedbug flavour?
Naturally.
Of course not. That will only be consumed in dire situations, such as Australia winning cricket against England or you being unable to fit in your tweed anymore.
Would be a disaster.
My goodness, is that a hand appearing from off stage and waving a letter around?
Surely not. That would be a terribly visual joke for radio.
Let me read that. Great Scott!
Where?
I thought he was enjoying his retirement from James Bond.
No. This is a summons from that infamous scoundrel and unapologetic Frenchman, Arsène Lupin.
Who?
Is he a gentleman spy?
He's a burglar.
This letter says he wished to confide in us about the recent murders, as he is pretty sure he knows of the whereabouts of the perpetrator. We are to meet him at dawn outside the wheelbarrow on the Grand Place here in Brussels.
In that case, we shall wait until dawn breaks. Time to go, chums.
What will Arsène Lupin reveal to our intrepid heroes? When will the shadowy Mr. Munn strike again? Find out soon in the next instalment of Sherlock Holmes and the Adventure of the Chalky Outline.
Sherlock Holmes and the Adventure of the Chalky Outline was written by Laura Griffen and performed by Heckington Players Amateur Dramatic Society. It starred Dan Excel as Sherlock Holmes, Kai Bailey as Dr. John Watson, Matthew Brown as Captain William Lutteridge Kingsley, Rachel Rowett as Squadron Leader Persephone Percy Boothroyd, Hannah Priestley as Arthur Conan Doyle, Joe Warwick as Miss Whifflewaff, Sue Fletcher as Beatrice, Angry Quaker, the petitioner, Elaine Wilson as victim of Angry Quaker, Melanie Priestley as Lady Gaga, Laura Griffen as Belgian policeman, and me, Joanne Moores, as the narrator. This particular adventure was recorded by our honorary Belgian policeman, Callum Thursby. It was directed and edited by Laura Griffen. This was a Heckington Players and Yellow Satchel Media production for Heckington Living Radio.